Hey guys, it's Shannon from That DIY Couple, and I am coming to you live from Mexico, beautiful Mexico, for my week 3 raw vegan check-in. And today we are going to talk about detox and, big spoiler slash confession, why I needed to take a pause from this way of eating while I've been here in Mexico. Let's get into it. So as a lot of you guys know, I am documenting my transition to a raw vegan diet here on YouTube. You can look back at my baseline video to see why I'm eating this way, and you can see where my stats were and my weeks 1 and 2 check-ins for previous updates. But we are here, we are in week 3, which is actually week 4 because I started really about a week before New Year's. This is the third week of January, so we're calling it week 3. And here's the deal, detox is real on this type of diet. You guys saw before that I had some really super serious acne, and I alluded to the fact that I had been kind of going to the restroom a lot more. Basically what has happened is that over the last week I was going to the bathroom probably like 3 or 4 times a day, and you might just want to stop watching this video if you can't handle talk about the human excretory processes. Just heads up, this is going to be a TMI video. So I was going to the bathroom like 3 or 4 times a day, which is a lot for me, and it was always like the most glorious poop that you could ever imagine. It was just like super easy, like one and done, like no time on the toilet, feeling great, beautiful, full logs. I was like, this diet's amazing, you know, it's moving sort of my bowels, I'm like getting everything out, I'm like, you know, feeling really light and airy, and I was feeling full of energy, amazing, amazing, amazing weeks 1 through 3. And then I got to Mexico, and at first I was like having so much fun eating so much delicious fruits and veggies and salads here at this all-inclusive resort, but basically I think I have gotten food poisoning as a result of just different microbes in the water. So I'm eating all this raw lettuce that's been washed in the local water, and I think it's just made me ill on top of the detox. So anyway, essentially I've gotten sick. So I'm not blaming the diet for that, but I did need to start eating a few cooked foods to just sort of slow the roll of my bowels, because I was feeling super ill and going to the bathroom way more times than is healthy, and just a totally different type of poop. You guys know what I'm talking about. I had diarrhea. So this is a lot of info to be putting on the internet for wide consumption, but I'm just trying to be honest to help you guys see sort of what it really is like to transition to a raw vegan diet. And I want to share a couple of reflections that I've been having over the last few weeks as I've gotten more knowledgeable about this way of eating. So I'm just gonna sit down in the grass here. It's a lot easier than holding the camera. But okay, here's the deal. There's a lot of quackery in this world. I feel like if you think about veganism like 20 years ago, how we all thought that vegans were like total quacks, and now it's like just slowly starting to become mainstream because a lot of like essentially really hot women, mostly on the West Coast, have been adopting this way of lifestyle and talking about how amazing they feel, and so many celebrities have adopted it and just like look amazing, that we've all been kind of like, maybe there's something to these like weird hippie people, maybe they have the right idea. And so like people like me, who I would consider myself fairly mainstream, are sort of coming to veganism. I feel like raw veganism is like veganism 20 years ago right now. It's just all these like really weird people. Like I don't know how else to say it. Like it's hard to find anyone who's following this diet, except there are some notable exceptions, particularly on YouTube, but it's hard to find anyone who you look at who's following this diet and you're like, this is a legitimate human being who's like a doctor, like a medical doctor, who is like, you know, advocating this way of diet based on all sorts of science and studies. And on the contrary, there's all these people, especially on YouTube, who look really good, who are advocating and telling you like, oh, this is amazing, I feel amazing. So there's like a certain allure to it, which is kind of, I think, what dragged me in of it initially, in addition to just my personal experience of having felt really super good eating this way over the summer. So this is like a logical fallacy, right? To be judging the quality of a person's argument based on your perception of the person and their sort of legitimacy, but this is a logical fallacy that I make all the time when it comes to diet and exercise. Like okay, Dr. Atkins died of a heart attack, probably not going to follow his diet. And it's one that I think is like okay to make, right? Because we don't have long-term data on most ways of eating, so the best proxy we probably have is, okay, this person says that they eat this way and this was their actual demise and health outcome. So anyway, I make this judgment all the time. Like if I'm listening to somebody who's telling me about diet and they just look like terribly deathly ill and unhealthy, like I'm just unlikely. They might be speaking the gospel truth, but I am unlikely to pay attention to them because I commit this logical fallacy. Anyway, this is all a long way of saying that it's been really hard for me to figure out if there are any like real gurus that I trust and admire within the raw vegan community. And by contrast, there are certainly like aspirational people who look really good, who advocate eating this way, but they don't seem to be that smart. And they don't seem to cite a ton of hard science, because I don't think that there exists. Similar to the way that I don't think that there's like a ton of science on veganism specifically. There's a lot at this point of science on like whole food plant-based eating, but I don't think there's like all that many long-term studies on veganism. It's hard to fault people for not citing studies that perhaps don't exist. But in any event, I have a lot of gurus that I like within the like whole food plant-based eating who I feel really smack of legitimacy and science, like Dr. Furman, Dr. Esselstyn. I mean, I've talked in other videos about the many plant-based doctors that I admire. I can't really find anyone in the raw food diet. And by contrast, I've actually stumbled across a lot of information and videos about people who used to eat this way, who are like now what I would describe as defectors and on a mission to get people to not eat this way because they say that they felt amazing at the beginning and then suffered all sorts of nutrition deficiencies and things like that. So I'm kind of like treading lightly here in terms of you know, whether or not I want to continue eating this way. I think that I do, because my personal experience from the summer was that I was feeling amazing and like great on this diet. But what I want to do is I'm taking a little bit of a break. I'm eating a couple of cooked foods, and truth be told, I had a piece of fish and it was good here in Mexico. And so I'm taking a little bit of like a pause for this weekend to, first of all, just control the food sickness that I've been having, but also to just evaluate how I want to proceed. So one of the things I did is that I entered all of my food and all of John's food into Cronometer, and I found that both of us were eating in a way that wasn't getting us a few of the vitamins and nutrients that we needed. So I have gone ahead and redesigned our diet plans, and starting tomorrow when I get back, I'm gonna go to the store and I'm gonna like prep us food for the week in a way that's going to hit all of our nutrient and mineral requirements, and I'm really excited about that, but it's still raw vegan. And I'm going to make sure that we're eating the correct supplements and stuff, because I just want to make sure that we have all of our bases covered in terms of vitamins, minerals, nutrients, and that if we do this thing, we're going to do it, I shouldn't say we because John's not eating totally raw, but if I'm gonna do this thing, I'm gonna do it in a way that I think makes practical sense and is safe and is healthy. And in the meantime, I'm gonna be looking really hard for any actual science that I can find. One of the big issues that I have is that when I sort of Googled what is this detox that's happening to me, that's the word that everyone uses, detox, right? And I don't think that's a very scientific word. The sort of narrative is that, you know, oh, you've built up all these toxins in your body over all the years, and when you start eating this way, your body starts to flush them out. I don't know. Is that true, or do you just have like a irritable bowel type symptom because you're really strongly upping the amount of fiber that you have in your body in a way that you have that you're not used to? I know that when my dogs change dog food, they always get sick, and then they are okay after a little while. Whenever we have like a major diet shift, I think intestinal distress is probably like part of it. So I don't know, I wanna do some more digging. I wanna do some looking on NIH and other reputable sources to see what I can find about the science behind this way of eating, and we're gonna go from there. So I'm gonna keep you guys posted. The plan right now is to continue as soon as I get back on and not in a country where I'm just not able to quickly adjust to the microbiome of the, you know, the local bacteria in the food and the water. As soon as I get back tomorrow, I'm planning on going to the store, doing a redesign plan for myself and John that is raw and which is hopefully going to be both enough food for us, because I'm concerned that perhaps we're not eating enough, and also be totally like hitting the ball out of the park in terms of nutrients, minerals, and macros and things like that. And then we're gonna see how we feel going from there. And in the meantime, expect some more research on this topic from me in new videos. Guys, I hope you like this video. You know, I'm sorry that it's not like a fully baked presentation of like, here's everything I know about this diet, because honestly, I'm just figuring it out. Part of this channel is, you know, striving to become the best version of ourselves, and some of that means like taking 2 steps forward, 1 step back, and like jiggering with our ideas and our beliefs and figuring out what it is to be a healthy person. What does it mean to be, you know, living your best life? So comment down below if you have any, you know, gurus that you like to follow. And here's the thing, I'm really frustrated at some of the people who do hold themselves out as gurus in this raw vegan movement, because a lot of them describe themselves as doctors, and then when you dig into their credentials, you realize that they're not doctors of medicine, which is what I assume when you call yourself a doctor, that you're an MD. Instead, they're like doctors of osteopathy or doctors of chiropractic doctors, whatever. Like, not to say that like a doctor is someone who has a PhD too, right? But I wouldn't, if someone with a PhD in mathematics tells me that they're a doctor, I'm gonna assume that they mean medical doctor, because that's the way we use it in common parlance. So in the health space in particular, when you pulled yourself out as a doctor, if you're not a medical doctor, I expect you to put Dr. So-and-so, comma, DO or DC, so that you're signaling to everyone that you're not an MD. And I think it's almost dishonest and disingenuous for them to do otherwise. There are a bunch of them. I'm not gonna give them the benefit of like linking to them, but that really frustrates me, and it makes me feel like there's a lot of quackery in this movement. So anyway, guys, if you have any credible sources or people that you think are really good gurus in this space, I'm like really looking for them, so please comment down below. And if you have yourself experienced, you know, this diet or others and want to share your experience with me, I'm super interested in hearing where you are on your health journey. Thanks for being with me, guys. Until next time, do well and always make things better.
Oh.